And I was like, oh, it's been off for a long time.
Oh, I shut that shit down. Hey, everybody,
Yeah.
welcome to bonus content. It's me, Alex. Tony's here.
It me
Tony,
dabble.
why don't you ever turn on your camera?
It'd be real. I could technically do that right now,
I just want
actually,
to. I just want to see what you
because
look like right now.
it's real dark. Hold on, let me.
They'll be able to see you. It's very exciting.
Yeah, hold on.
I'm holding. This is me holding as tight as humanly possible. For viewers at home, I'm wearing my a new Undertale shirt that I got. I'm very excited about. It's hard to see because it's like a pattern that goes to like the bottom right edge of the shirt, but it's cool. You can see it's a little bit of. Oh God, you can't see anything. You see, there's it's Asriel, not Asriel. What's his name?
All right, it's not gonna work. Next week, I'll fix it.
Nice. There's Flowey hanging out. There's Alfie's or Alphys, whichever you
Where's
prefer.
the Delta rune?
There is a Deltarune shirt that's actually in this style as well. I thought about getting it, but I'm like, I haven't finished Deltarune yet. I should finish it before I get it. Shout out to Fan Gamer once again, making cool stuff. Tony, how was your week, man? How you missed last week? What's up?
I honestly like. I wouldn't have missed last week. I just like. I just didn't realize that it was the weekend. And
Text
then suddenly
messages
it was
weren't
the
going
weekend.
through at some point too.
Yeah, my phone was being a bitch, and I never got messages. So I was like, oh, I guess I figured like if they're gonna do a podcast, they'll probably just like add me to the Discord group.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
should
we're
do
at.
that. I should just start doing that, just adding people to Discord groups and be like, all right, it's happening.
Yeah, because I mean, like I was probably even if I didn't get the text message, my phone would still be like Discord message.
Yeah, true. I
So,
keep forgetting about that.
but anyway, so then it came around like Monday evening, and I was like, wait a fucking minute,
Wait a second.
it's Monday.
Yeah.
I didn't do the podcast, did I? And I was
Originally,
really confused.
I don't know if the messages ever went through. Scott, he let us know he I think he's working on school stuff, so he wouldn't be here this week or last week. And Nabishin last minute last week said like, hey, or the night before he said like, hey, I'm gonna go to see Into the Spider-Verse. So I'm probably not gonna be home in time Saturday night. I was like, okay, cool. So it'll be me and Tony. And then I got sick, and I also had a meeting at work at like 6:30 the next morning. I was like, hey, can we just do
Hell
this
yeah.
tomorrow? And Tony never responded because the text message never went through. And I was like, all right, cool. Tomorrow it is. And then we recorded Sunday, and I tried to text you, but I guess it didn't go through.
Yeah, it's working now, so
It happens.
what that was.
Life happens. The World Wide Web works against us in mysterious ways. Nabishin should be here at some point, but he was smashing with some friends.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I can't interrupt that.
Yeah, you can't make him
Expect
pass.
a man to stop smashing his friends.
Yeah, exactly. That's just rude.
It's pretty rude.
That's just wrong. But how's life been outside of that, Tony?
It's been pretty good. I'm watching some anime,
Oh shit!
playing some video games.
What are you watching?
So I'm watching a couple different ones, but the main one that I've like kind of just it's been a long time since I've like been bored and been like, let's watch an episode of anime or whatever. And then I was thinking that, and I went on Crunchyroll, and I was like, okay, what's on here that I haven't watched yet? Because this season's actually there's a lot of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been a really long time since I've just like binged basically an entire season of anime, because we're getting close to the end of the season for all the new anime. And I really liked this one that I watched the first episode for, and I blacked out for 4.5 hours, and on the other side of episode 10 surfaced again. I was like, oh, what happened?
What happened?
But yeah, it's this one. I have to look it up because the name doesn't really make sense with what the show is.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's a lot of anime.
like the whole like selling point of like the poster art for the show and everything has almost nothing to do with the actual show. It's called Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai.
It's named my
Uh,
autobiography, actually.
yeah, and like the picture is like an anime lady in a bunny girl outfit in an aquarium, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, what is this about? And it's no, has almost nothing to do with that. Um, but yeah, it's super cool. That show, I think it's the best anime that is airing right now.
Damn.
My favorite one that I've like in recent. I really like Slime. The That Time I Reincarnated as a Slime is pretty good.
You mentioned that before.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. Um, but yeah, I watched that whole thing, all the 10 episodes that were available in one sitting, and it's a super neat show. It like tackles a lot of it kind of it's while it's a good show, it's also kind of a commentary on like current anime and what's really popular to do in those, and it goes against it in some ways, and then kind of goes with it. It's pretty neat. But yeah, the show pretends to be something different than what it is at first, and kind of draws you in with what it ends up actually being. So it's pretty neat.
Huh.
Good anime.
Did he? So I know it's completely unrelated, or at least I believe it is. There's like a movie called Overlord.
Okay.
I just wanted to bring that up because you like the anime called Overlord.
I don't. Isn't that yeah? It's like a live action movie or actual.
It's like an actual film called Overlord by J.J.
Yeah, I have no
Abrams,
idea.
apparently.
All I know is that they paid a hell of a lot of like content creators that I watch on like Twitch and YouTube and stuff to advertise for them. So I've seen many endorsements by people who don't give a fuck about the movie.
This is the Google description when I googled Overlord. On the eve of D-Day, American paratroopers dropped behind enemy lines to penetrate the walls of a fortified church and destroy a radio transmitter. As the soldiers approach their target, they soon begin to realize that there's more going on in the Nazi-occupied village than a simple military operation. Making their way to an underground lab, the outnumbered men stumble upon a sinister experiment that forces them into a vicious battle against the army of the dead. The cover for it reminds me a lot of Wolfenstein.
Yeah, I got those vibes too.
Which
But yeah,
I
their
don't
marketing
like.
team paid a bunch of League of Legends streamers to advertise the movie
Fuck.
for them.
I
It's
mean,
fucking weird.
that's like a lot of reach.
I feel like because it's like you're watching like I'm a Cutie Pie play League of Legends, and then his game ends, and he's like, "Hey guys, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw this trailer for Overlord. This movie looks so good. I want to go see this movie and then see it again."
Dude,
And we're like, bro.
we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but like it might have been last week. But I upgraded to YouTube Premium recently.
Yeah, I'm aware. I remember that.
And I've just now having this conversation with you, Tony. I'm realizing I haven't seen like a League of Legends YouTuber ad in weeks, and I feel so free. I'm so happy. Finally, I've found peace. Cameron in the chat says, "Yes, it's so good. It's so damn good. Yes, a rascal does not dream of bunny girl senpai is so good.
It's really fucking good.
Would I like it?
I hesitate to just immediately say yes because I don't really know if it would resonate with you very much, but I think that it's worth a shot.
Okay.
I think that you will know by the end of episode 3 if you're going to like it or not.
Okay. That's why I like to ask you, Tony, because you don't like recommend things willy nilly. I think that's the nice thing about this show is like we don't just throw shit out there to one another willy nilly.
Because I don't know, sometimes I'll just be like, I like this thing. Everyone's probably going to like this thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one specifically, you probably think it's cool. But I would say give it 3 episodes, and if you don't like it by the end of the 3rd one, I wouldn't watch the rest of it.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's gonna get you, it'll get you by the end of episode.
I was I was reading the description and it seemed cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think it definitely has like some mild Persona vibes
Mm.
in the way that its plot is handled. Not really in anything else. But in the way that its plot is handled, I would say there's a little bit of that there, that kind of storytelling.
Excellent. Speaking of Persona, have you heard any of the news from the weekend, the Game Awards and Kind of Funny Games showcase?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I just wanted to know ahead of time.
I've been busy watching League of Legends All Star. So
Very important. I understand.
hey man, that's yeah, dude. It's the last esports event for League of Legends of the year.
Yeah, dude. Are you pulling for anybody going into 2019? Now you're deeply invested in League of Legends. They got you back in 2018, the year of the resurgence.
Okay, so like, and yeah, so now that the Worlds is over, um, a bunch of players went, and it's weird because this is handled very much like a sport. And like players move between teams, and if players' contracts expire, they go back into free agency and stuff like that. And there are specific rules to putting people on your team. Like if you're a North American team, you only have one slot for an import player, which is you bring in a player from a different country
Okay.
to put them on your team or whatever. And yeah, like since the season ended, players are moving between teams. Some players are being released from their contracts, other ones are signing contracts with new teams. Then like some players, like really popular Korean players, like Bang, who is a really good Korean player, decided to move to North America and is joining a North America team, 100 Thieves. So there's a bunch of cool stuff going on. I think that the biggest one, and people don't, I guess I can't say people would know that I am because I haven't really talked about it on the show, but I'm a really big fan of Faker, who is historically the best League of Legends player of all. Maybe not necessarily the number one player but historically his legacy is by far like the best player. But anyway, I'm his fan, and he has always been on one team, SKT T1, and which is a Korean team, and they've won Worlds 3 times, that team. So, but the interesting thing is that they didn't do as well this past year. And then every player other than Faker was released into free agency. And then they signed a completely new team just to surround Faker with, just like all this excellent talent from Korea. And it's interesting to I want to watch them build a team where basically all the players are playing around Faker, this fantastic player. Where before it was Faker trying to carry 4 people, on the hill, putting the entire team on his back and trying to get him to where he could get him. And he took him to 3 world championships already. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do with a fresh batch of like really good players that are handpicked to play with him.
Yeah, that is cool.
Faker is more popular than some Korean celebrities are in Korea. It's gross. Like he's so popular, and it's weird because I was said, All Stars was happening. Everyone wants to meet Faker, and like he's the most he's the most popular like face of competitive League of Legends. So all the pros who are going to All Stars, like I gotta get a selfie with Faker or whatever. Like there's a big 1v1 tournament for all the pros that went there, and people are trying to like knock him out, and getting to play against him is a huge deal. So
yeah, that is cool.
There's a bunch of other stuff going on, but for me, I think
that's the most exciting.
I'm a Faker holdout. So
yeah, it was cool having that perspective that you gave us, going through like the Game Awards when Mike Scott and I.
Yeah, even though I'm super biased towards the league stuff because I don't know any of the other.
Yeah, but like it's valuable to have that touchstone. I'm trying to think. I think League of Legends did win one category, but I don't remember which. It was like I think it was one of the moments. It was one of the League of Legends Worlds moments. But they were very good. I know you don't typically like to tune into the Game Awards. I don't know how into awards you are.
I honestly just kind of forgot that it was a thing.
They were very good this year. We'll talk about it a little bit on the show, but they were well paced. There's not like a lot of lulls. There was no real awkward moment at all. And there were some like really good heartfelt moments. Just across the board. There was one. I would say there was one kind of cringy moment, where they announced the new Mortal Kombat game.
I was gonna say, was it when they brought out the music act?
No, I mean, they played the song from Devil May Cry 5 announcement, the Pull My Devil Trigger thing. It was really great because it's like very different. It's it's like a metal song pretty much. Very
Yeah.
different than everything else. And then Jeff Keighley afterwards is like, "There, you wanted it." So anyway, and it just completely moves on,
Good.
like just
Yeah, I think
dunks
like
on
it's
it.
necessary to have it happen, but also necessary to just completely forget that it happened right after.
Yeah. So it's really funny. It was best esports coach, Reapered
Reaper, yeah, yeah,
one. And he's like a league person.
that is completely within the realm of expectation.
And best esports team Cloud9 one.
Also within the realm of I think I said when we were doing it, like it's probably going to be Cloud9 for this reason.
Yeah, and best esports event did go to League of Legends World Champions. That's awesome. I thought it was Overwatch.
In no small part due to Korean K-pop league characters.
And the best esports host was Ifie. Shocks, yeah.
Wow, sounds like I got them all right.
Yeah, and you were pulling for them. The best esports moment was C9 comeback win in triple OT versus FaZe. I don't think that was League of Legends.
I don't think so.
It says E-League next to it.
I think that's one of their like branch teams.
Okay. So it's league related, tertiarily league related. But yeah, it was a very good show, and there were some really good fun announcements, like Mortal Kombat 11. There was just a moment where Jeff Keighley's like, and to present the best sports/racing game, Ed Boon, and it's like, why is Ed Boon presenting this award? And then he walks out and he says, here are the nominees for best sports/racing game, and it shows like the intro slate, and then it like Scorpion's chain crashes through it, and then it cuts to a Mortal Kombat 11 trailer, and it's like, you just kind of dunked on that whole category.
Wait, do you mean to tell me that Ninja won best content creator of the
Yeah.
Wow, who could have?
I know, like guessed? Honestly, underdog pulling it, but yeah, dude. That was like
I was pulling for him.
Yeah, it was the least surprising announcement.
So surprising.
Monster Hunter World won some stuff. It was good. I still have to go through and tally some stuff up. But it was a good show. There was a good representation. Red Dead Redemption 2 probably won too many categories, but it didn't win Game of the Year, so you take the good with the bad, I guess. Like Red Dead 2 won like best soundtrack, and it's like, there are a lot more interesting picks on this list. I have you gotten anything in the meat space in the last couple of days?
In the what?
In the meat space, in real life.
What is the meat?
This is the meat space. Me, like physically.
I'm so confused.
Have you not heard that term before?
No.
In the meat space means like not in the virtual world, like not online.
The meat, like MEAT space?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Not like the meat, like MEET space.
That's terrible. I hate that.
Good. I'm glad I could bring you some new form of hatred.
Well, I don't know. I've been trying to fix this MacBook all week and been unsuccessful, so that's a good time.
I'm sorry, bud.
It's okay. I think I just have to get an adapter if I want to use an external monitor with it. But
where were you using it before? For
mm-hmm.
Like where did it fit in your little setup?
Oh, so I wasn't actually using it at all before. I would just take it to and use it as my work computer. But then I realized that this part of it wasn't. So I've been trying to get it working again because that's one of like very few things that will actually annoy me is when like some technology thing doesn't work for some unknown reason and I can't fix it. It pisses me off.
I know exactly what you're talking about too. Like when this should just work.
Yeah, or in like I feel like I have enough experience with all that stuff that I should be able to fix this problem. When I try and fix the thing and I can't fix the thing, it pisses me off. The best example that I can think of is like I had on my laptop that I had a while ago, like my Windows laptop that Scott and I both had. There was this problem where the mic would listen to itself and make feedback just randomly. Um, and I couldn't figure out how the hell to get it to stop. And it ended up being this weird setting in like the mic settings that would cause the microphone to listen to itself. And it took me forever to find it. And I had to basically just mute the onboard sound of the computer all the time because if the sound was on, the microphone would hear itself and just create like feedback forever. So
Jeez.
It was so annoying, and it took me like 3 weeks to figure it out because it would only happen like intermittently, and so it would happen, and I'd try and fix it, and then it would go away, and then it would come back. So yeah, it was a pain in the ass, but stuff like that is one of the few things that can really kind of get me going, grind my gear.
Yeah, it's like that, and so things that should work that just aren't working for no good reason. Also, like human error that like happens 1 out of 10 times, I think really pisses me off. Like when I fuck something up that I shouldn't have fucked up. Like I have like a cord for my power adapter for my computer that's like plugged into the wall behind me, and 9 times out of 10 when I'm walking to like go get a glass of water, I'm fine. But like that one time that I like trip in it or pull on it, I get so pissed for no fucking reason. Like I get angry. It's like why would this just be in the way this time? Like some unreasonable angriness. I have no idea why. I'm typically not a very angry person, though. Luckily,
Same.
Yeah, we're pretty mellow.
Yeah, dude.
I didn't get into anything in the meat space this week either. So
Stop using that word.
I feel like anytime, so we're gonna have to start the show in a little bit. I feel like anytime it's just down to two of us, it's always you and me, Tony. We're just the most reliable.
Yeah, right? What's up with that? It lets you suck.
Damn, I would not go that far.
I would. I did.
Scott's got a good excuse. I know Namshin was hanging out with some friends tonight. He's playing Smash Brothers.
That's not a good excuse.
It's not, but I'll allow it. I'll give it to him.
It's the excuse, not a good one.
It's the excuse. It's the truth. I appreciate the truth.
Yeah, that's fair. It would have been better if he was just like, "Hey, I'm playing this. I'm not coming."
Just like, hey,
Instead
guys.
of like, "I'm playing this. I'll probably be there."
Smash Brothers is very important. I mean, I guess like Namshin doesn't get to hang out with people and play games together a lot, so it is important for him.
Mm-hmm.
You ready to start talking about video games?
I could talk about some video games.
Hell yeah. Let me make sure that this is recording audio from the right device. It is. Yay. Not what I meant to do. All right. You got your audacities ready?
Ready to go.
Your audaciousness ready? All right. On 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bum, bum, ba-da. Let me make sure.
So exciting.
Very exciting. Another fireside chats. We have so many of these now. This is, I think, our third one.
Like, yeah.
Very sexual. Just so much tension.
And it's nice because it makes a shorter show. And I've been like going to sleep at 8 o'clock for the past like week, and waking up at 6:30 in the morning. So it's already past my bedtime.
I'm sorry, but I won't keep you up too long. We'll blast through this. This will be a good chat. All right. 2 Sunday recordings in a row. We recorded Sunday last week also. That's how it turned out.
Yeah.
Which was fun. We had Logan Wilkinson on. We had a good time. It's nice to have somebody actually talk about Red Dead on the podcast because none of us care about it. Although Nabishin's getting into it. It is Sunday, December 9th, 2018, and you are listening to the Irrational Passions Podcast, episode 405. I'm Alex O'Neill. I'm going to be your host this evening, and joining me for a very special one-on-one Fireside Chat podcast, Tony Horvath.
Basically. You take a mouthpiece and put it in a length of tubing. It'll resonate on certain notes.
I want to, what is your favorite version of that meme that you've seen?
I like the one where he does it and it plays like the Jack Black saxoboom.
Oh yeah, that one's very good.
Oh, it's so fun.
It's very
I love all the saxoboom memes,
yeah. The saxophone.
but mostly I love the original saxoboom. It's so good. I love Jack Black.
Yes, me too. I like there was I don't know if it was the original video, or one of the earlier versions of that meme, but like where he plays it and it makes kind of like a dubstep noise, and then he puts on the horn, and then it just gets into some dank, dirty, wibbly wobbly wubstep notes. It was very good. Tony, it's just you and me tonight.
Yeah.
Nobshin might hop in at any point here. I don't know. I haven't heard from him, so I doubt it. Usually he'll be pretty communicative. Scott's working on school stuff. You're here.
Yeah, Scott was telling me about his schoolwork issues yesterday, so
Yeah, he's almost done.
he's been having trouble getting to his like complicated program thing to talk to each other and trying to use like Discord and Slack as a medium. But they impose like a limit on the amount of sending of information you can do between platforms, unless you like pay for it or something. So he's been having to do it like ration his amount of packets that he sends, basically.
Wow.
So yeah, he's been trying to figure out how to do that because it's like he's using Discord and Slack as kind of a go-between to solve a problem of getting these two things to talk to each other that normally wouldn't. So
damn, that
it's
sounds
cool,
like a nightmare. It's cool, but yeah. But yeah, we're here. We're gonna talk a little bit. It's gonna be a more casual show. We're gonna talk about some video games. We're gonna talk about the Game Awards, the Kind of Funny Games Showcase, which turned out to be a great showing. And I think we got a couple of questions, so we'll answer those and we'll throw it out. I also have a very good bet this week as we're approaching the
two-man bet.
A 2-man bet, 1v1. We're approaching the end of the betting season, getting ready to make new teams, start the new year off right. It's exciting. It's neck and neck too. It's like anybody's game. I'll have to tally up the Game Awards stuff, but I think with all the esports categories, you might have taken it, Tony.
I did get I was looking at them. I think I got almost all of them except for like I think I got right.
Yeah, I think one you said it was going to be Overwatch, and it didn't turn out to be Overwatch. But I'll have to, like I said, I still have to go through those, so we'll figure out who's getting a burrito. So let's kick some things off with housekeeping. Irrationalpatch.com right now, not a lot going on there because we're like gearing up for a big kind of bunch of things game of the year wise. So we're kind of taking our resources, putting them somewhere else. There's a book club coming. The December book club is now going to be Ori and the Blind Forest. Originally that was going to be November, but now it's going to be December. That might still get postponed to January. It got postponed out of November. I know we don't want to push it back any further, but we've just had a lot going on, and Extra Life really took it out of us. All the Extra Life videos are uploaded. I have to kind of cut them down and publish them, but all of them are done. There's a little bit of an extended clip on the Roger Picorni Cooking Nightmares scene. If you'd like to see the crimes that he ate, that he committed and then he ate them, and see their reactions after they eat them, that'll only be available on YouTube, which is cool. Troll shot that personally, which was very nice. Yeah, he had like a handheld camera and everything. It's very good.
It was pretty good.
So those will hopefully be up sometime this month as well. But yeah, we're just kind of gearing up for Game of the Year. Our Game of the Year is going to publish in January. This podcast and the editorial Game of the Year are going to be kind of two separate things under one Irrational Passions thing. So we will, on the Irrational Passions podcast, collectively sit down, argue, and choose a number one game for 2018. And then the editorial team will sit down and choose an editorial Game of the Year as well, to kind of represent both separate pieces of the website. So you'll get plenty of Game of the Year stuff. If you wanted that, I'm happy for you. I'm not happy for me because I have to sit through all of it. But we talked about it on this show a couple weeks ago. But like for the editorial stuff, I'm going to be a little less involved. Emotionally, I'm invested in Irrational Passions podcast Game of the Year. I can't give it all to two things though. But yeah, that's it. There's some good stuff coming. There's a couple of articles that I'm actually pretty excited about that Quentin Hoffman's been working on, that are on their way too. So um, I think it's gonna be a good last month. A lot of video games are coming out, as it turns out. They kind of all were announced that they're coming out in the last week, which is just a bummer, but it just means I have to play a lot more before the end of the year. So let's talk about video games. Tony, you weren't here last week. What are you playing, man?
So I've been playing some League of Legends.
Mm-hmm.
As you do.
As you do.
Yeah, that game is kind of in a love-hate relationship with me right now.
I feel like it always is.
Maybe, but they've kind of like they've made a lot of changes because it's preseason now.
Yeah, they're
the
throwing
from last year's end.
Wild shit out there because we're in between seasons, right?
Yeah, and kind of like an unfortunate side effect of that is a lot of the changes that they made favor champions in mid lane that are not Aurelion Sol. Right after they nerfed him like 3 times, they kind of buffed up different playstyles that he's already weak to.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, he's not a good champion to pick into 99% of all games, pretty much.
Damn.
So I'm not really able to play my main champion anymore. So I've kind of had to move on past him and start playing other champions most of the time, which is super lame. It's not just like, it's more like I could pick him, but it would be the suboptimal choice in every respect, and I'd basically like be putting myself in a really difficult situation voluntarily, where most other champions would be more on equal footing. So it just doesn't really make sense to do it. Where in the past he would be dominant against some champions that you would want to pick him into, but you could potentially pick him and get counterpicked but still do okay. Now it's at the point where like you can only pick him into very specific good matchups, and then sometimes the rest of the champions on the enemy team are still going to screw. So he's in a really bad place right now, which is really unfortunate.
Damn.
So I've had to start playing some, like, other champions more seriously, which in the long run may be a good thing, but it still sucks. So
I'm sorry. I know Aurelion Sol's your boy. He's your sweet boy,
dude, my sweet dragon.
Yeah.
He's
He's a cool dude too.
They've got the Snowdown event going on now, the Christmas event. So the maps are all snow themed and stuff, and they've come out again with Nexus Blitz, which is like the really fast 5v5 mode, where the game it ends within 20 minutes every time, because if it doesn't end in 18 minutes, the two nexuses at the edge of each map, or for each team, they just get up and start walking towards the middle and fight each other until one of them dies.
Yeah, I remember this mode. It's very cool.
Yeah. So that's back for like 4 weeks, and that's a good time. So I've been doing that and playing that with friends, because for some reason, like, everyone in the Discord for like Scott and I, like our friends, they all started playing League again for some reason, where it had just been me like carrying the torch for months, and then all of a sudden, like, their 5-man pre-mades going on for League like all the time.
Fuck yeah.
So
That's
yeah, we're playing that. But yeah, I don't know, it's League. Kind of waiting for more changes to happen. Hopefully they make some more bigger changes, because
Whoops.
the other ones hasn't really been.
Sorry, Tony.
Welcome back.
I meant to hit unfocus this participant and hit end call.
Oh.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah, this one, compared to other preseasons, hasn't really shook up the meta as much as we were expecting it to. So hopefully some more bigger changes are coming.
Hopefully, I believe.
Other than that, I've been playing one other game, mostly Warcraft 3.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've been kind of going really hard on it for the past couple weeks. Where I'm not playing the regular game of it. I just they announced about a week and a half. They made a change that said if you pre-order Warcraft 3 Reforged,
Mm-hmm.
You can download the legacy client for Warcraft 3, The Frozen Throne, and activate it as if, or you can, instead of putting in a CD key, you can activate it just by verifying that you own or that you've pre-ordered the Reforged edition.
Yeah.
which is great because previously you couldn't really get Warcraft 3. Like there was no way to get a legitimate CD key. You couldn't buy it from Blizzard. So unless you had a really old copy, like I still have my original boxes for those games.
Whoa, very
And I got
cool.
my old original CD keys and stuff from when I was 12 years old, 13
Fuck
years ago,
yes,
14
dude.
years ago. So I've had the game forever, but the side effect of this is that now there's like, 5,000 plus more players playing all the time because people can come in and all they got to do is pre-order the game for $30 or whatever it is. And they can go in and play, all the stuff that they used to play. So when that happened, a bunch of people started playing again, which means that custom games that normally wouldn't fill up, now the people who used to play them are all playing them again. And for me, there was always one that I played a bunch, which is Vampirism Fire, which is this mode where it's like 10 humans versus 2 vampires. The humans get a 30-second head start, and they're basically like really micro intensive, like building a base to try and resist the 2 vampires breaking through your wall and killing you and taking down your defenses. So you're kind of racing against them, progressing by attacking other humans to get your economy up and use that economy to get your wall up so that the vampires can't get into your base. And there are a bunch of other factors that play into it. You either play as the human, which is super micro intensive and trying to like do things as efficiently and quickly as possible. And the games last like an hour. So it's an hour of that. Or you play as the vampire, one of two, where you need to kind of like figure out how the most efficient way to deal with all these things and, take out all the humans before they become too big of a threat and kill you. So it's a super cool game. I think it's it's the best custom game for Warcraft 3, except for Dota. But this is the one that I play. So yeah, it used to be like before they made this announcement, a bunch of people came back where you'd sit in a lobby for like an hour for it to fill up because the game kind of sucks unless the lobby is full. Because fewer humans means that there's less like bad humans for the vampire to get money from, and he just falls behind and the humans win. So you kind of need there to be two vampires and 10 humans so that there's enough feed for the vampires to stay relevant. And obviously, like a bad player really helps the vampires because they get a bunch of money from them, which is helpful for them to stay relevant against the better humans. So, but now there are like 3 lobbies going all the time because there's so many people playing. And then like another 1 or 2 lobbies filling up, waiting for a couple people to get out of that game so we can keep going.
Yeah,
that's super cool. And so, being able to start playing that again, I sucked at first. It was really because I used to be pretty good at it, and I started playing it. I play like a couple games every day, and then like 2 days ago, people in lobbies have started to like recognize who I am, and they'll be like, "Oh, you're this guy. That guy's really good at like he's really good at being at human, or like his micro is really fast." And I was like, "That's weird. I've never been recognized in an RTS for micro because I'm not really the kind of player that does micro and really fast, like small tasks and moving workers around and all that stuff. I'm not really an RTS player for that reason because I suck at it. So I thought that was super weird that like these people are like, oh yeah, we know you because you're really good at doing it at this and playing this game. So I was like, that's fucking weird. But yeah, that's super neat. I think the community for that is also still at a point where it's kind of small, and it should get even bigger when Reforged actually comes out, and that'll be exciting. But yeah, so I've been playing that a lot.
Dude, I'm excited for Reforged. I'm gonna play it.
Yeah, man. Pre-order, you can play it right now. Technically, it just won't look as good.
Yeah, I'm like ready for I want to see like the glow up version of it. I want to come in for that version. But what do you think Dota Reforged is going to be like? Is that going to be
exactly the same as regular Dota?
Yeah, but like, do you think it's going to be popular? Is it going to be big again?
I mean, people are playing it already. I think that being the original definitely like has some flair, and a lot of people who play those games now, they started playing that game. So I think that even if it doesn't last for a long time, at least as far as being super popular, it will definitely become popular for a while because people are going to want to go back.
It's going to be a cool
people
moment.
are going to want to play it,
like for sure. Like if it lasts or if it doesn't, it's going to be a cool moment. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm excited to see it. I'm curious. I know we're getting a little off topic here, but like, what of the Dota of the MOBAs out there, which of them actually plays closest to the original Dota?
So plays closest to the original Dota was probably like when it came out, Dota 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was designed to play that way, but be updated. It, as far as graphics, it broke out into its own engine to be able to do those things and
Yeah.
kind of improve a bit on what Dota the original did. League of Legends was, and the reason why people kind of associate League of Legends with the beginning of MOBAs, not Dota, is because it's so different than what Dota ended up being.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they kind of took really the way that they built League is some developers from the original Dota maps. They wanted to make a version that had more public appeal because it was easier to play, and so they kind of broke out, made it more in a more cartoony. It's kind of keeps a little bit of the Blizzard style, but diverges into slightly more realistic. Um, so it's kind of like a realistic cartoony vibe with their art style. And they took out some of the key mechanics that made the game. It wasn't really like skill ceiling, but more just like skill floor stuff. Like you don't have to learn to deny creeps in League of Legends. That was literally one of their major selling points of the game when they first came out. League of Legends, they're like, you don't have to deny creeps in this game. That was a huge thing.
Huh.
Because people, when you first start playing Dota, people they hate that because it's an extra thing to keep track of, and it's not easy to do it because instead of just right clicking on a minion to kill it, you have to like hit attack, then click on the minion to tell your character to attack an allied minion, and time that right to beat your opponent's attack. And it just adds a bunch of extra anxiety to
Certainly the thing I
what you
hated
want to
about
deal
it.
with. Yeah, exactly. Like a lot of people hated doing that, and it was one of the harder things to learn getting into it. People didn't like couriers. People didn't like that you had to run around the map. There was no easy way to get back to the base.
Yeah.
People didn't like turn radiuses, which
Yep.
I'm not going to talk about, but I'll just mention.
Yep.
Turn radiuses, people hate that shit. They aren't
Yeah.
in League.
We've had plenty of turn radius conversations.
Yeah, so stuff like that, right? Like some of the kind of just things that were there, but in all actuality, they were in the original Dota because they were actual factors of the RTS Warcraft 3.
Yes.
Like that was a mechanic of the RTS that you can't just take out because it's in a custom map in that game. So they were in there. Denying was a thing that could have been taken out, but I think that it's a good mechanic. But like stuff like turn radius and all that was in there is just normal RTS stuff that doesn't really necessarily like have that big of a place in MOBA. So they took some of those mechanics out and really kind of honed the game to be what it is. So I know we've kind of gotten even sidetracked off of your question, but I think that Dota 2 kind of stayed true to the original most in its first form. Now the games are completely different. Mm-hmm. So I think that there's the closest thing to Dota is now pretty much only the original Dota. Dota 2 is so completely different at this point, and League always has been different.
Yeah.
And I mean, HOTS isn't even close.
Yep.
Rest
in peace, Heroes of the Storm.
Heroes of New Earth, and all that stuff, they are dead. So.
Man, remember when Heroes of New Earth was like hot?
Yeah, dude. When we were like, "Oh, gotta spend $10."
Yeah, dude, it's cheap. You get all the characters, man.
Mm-hmm.
So fucking what a world! What a world we lived in. Does anyone still play Heroes of New Earth?
Codex.
Does anyone still play that game, Han?
I don't think that the game still has live servers. I don't know, but I would be surprised if they still had live servers running.
I gotta know. Maybe. Looks like maybe. It's still going on.
I feel like if the answer is not a resounding yes, this game still exists, it's probably.
Okay, I didn't know it changed studios in May of 2015. Damn. Yeah, it looks like it's still a thing.
Well, all right.
I wonder if my that copy of Heroes of New Earth that I purchased is still
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. Cool. Have you played?
What has more concurrent players right now, Heroes of New Earth or Bless Online?
Dude, Bless Online. Let's go. Let's go back. I still get fucking emails about Bless Online, dude. It's still trash, right?
Yeah, of course.
Excellent. Let's see.
We
Bless
have
Online.
SteamCharts.com.
Yeah, Steam Charts is where I'm at too. Peak is
1,000 play.
yeah. All-time peak is 34,288.
That was like at release.
24-hour peak is 1993, which I like. See where we were born. And there's 1,019 players playing as of 20 minutes ago.
That's actually up from what it used to be.
Yeah, maybe they've hooked some people in.
It's 1,000. That's terrible for an MMO.
Absolutely, but they're the consistent 1,000 player base. It's funny if you look at the like the time charts, like at around 2:00, it's 1900. Like that's the peak time to play Bless Online.
Yeah. Black Desert Online is 11,000 players, right? On Steam, but not that doesn't count the non-Steam version of the game, which is the same
servers, yeah. Interesting. Steam charts, very interesting website.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm excited for Warcraft Reforged. It's gonna be rad. What brought you back to Warcraft 3? Was it just like I need a comfort food game right now?
Well, I was playing, like I said, they announced that people who owned or pre-ordered the game could install the old one and play it, and I was like, oh, I bet that people are actually starting to play the old games again because they have access to the client.
Yeah.
So I installed it to see if people were playing, and it turns out they were. So
cool. Anything else you've been
playing? We played a bunch of games of Stellaris. I think I talked about.
Yeah, you did.
Megacorp has come out as of like 4 days ago.
Nice.
So we're waiting a bit for everybody to be ready to go to play that. So hopefully once we get everybody together, we'll be able to play that new expansion, and that should be pretty cool.
Cool. Very exciting. I played some video games.
Tell me about your video game.
I talked about most of these last week, Tony. So I'll skip over them to kind of focus on the stuff I kind of got more into this week. But I'll mention them. Finished Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, which I was replaying for another podcast. The game's fine. I had a rant about it. It was a whole thing. I've been playing Breath of the Wild again recently. That's been like I need comfort food game, and this is like
why trying to get the Koroks.
Yeah, you know me. No, I just started a new game. I was just exploring around. That was very much like just the loop of playing this game of like see something, go do it, accomplish it, beat it, and then see something new, go do that. Like it's very satisfying for me, and it makes me feel good. It is very much the comfort food that I need in my deep depression. So that's been good. I talked about it last week of like when I went and played Breath of the Wild about like 8 months after it came out, like last year or sometime, it wasn't clicking as well. But this time going back to it over a year later, it like clicked again just as well as it did the first time I played it, and it's just been really, really satisfying to play again. I got there's a remake of the Secret of Mana. I got that last week. I continued to chip away at that just as another kind of feel good comfort food game. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, which is actually really good. I know you've heard me talk about it a little bit, but
Let's Go Eevee is way better.
All right. I mean, I'm not here to hate, but that's been really fun. It's just like. It's just fun. I found one of my friends through Instagram was like, I need this Pokemon. I'm like, I got you. I found a Scyther and got it for them. That was fun. It was the first time I traded anything with anyone with Let's Go Eevee. That was cool. But yeah, I just beat Giovanni in that. So now I'm like on Victory Road trying to get to the Elite Four. Apparently there's a lot of stuff to do after you beat the game. So I'm kind of curious to see what. Yeah,
that's what I've heard.
I know, like, fair spoiler warning. Not like really, but when you're going on your Pokemon adventure, Blue shows up from the original Red and Blue. So presumably Red will show up as well, kind of like at the end of Pokemon Gold and Silver and Crystal, where you fight Red. So I assume that's part of it, but I don't know how that plays out or anything, so I'm excited to see that. But yeah, that's just been continuously very good vibes, very good feeling. I think I'm up to like 80 Pokemon now I've caught, which is pretty exciting. Getting close, Tony. Gonna finish that Pokedex.
Pretty close. Yeah, my friends have been like shiny hunting. Apparently, it's super easy in that game. So.
Yeah, there's a combo system in that game where if you catch the same Pokemon over and over again, a combo builds and its rare Pokemon will show up more easily and shiny Pokemon will show up more easily, which is clever. I think it's like it makes the shiny catching like still a grind, but like a far more achievable one, which I like. And you can use like lures to make rare Pokemon show up more easily. So I've seen anywhere between 127 Scythers having to be caught for a shiny one to show up in a row to like 15. So depending on how much time you want to sink into it. I will say I don't like catching Pokemon when the console is docked. So when it's docked, you have to play with just the one right Joy-Con, and you have to actually throw it to catch Pokemon. And I do not like that. I'm very bad at it. And when like they move left and right, you have to like curve your hand, and it never seems to work right. I'm not a fan of that. But when you're playing in handheld mode, you just aim it and hit the A button to throw a Pokeball, and that's fine. But outside of that, I've pretty much no complaints on it. I was not expecting that to be like one of my favorite games of the year, but it for sure is. The big ones that I've been playing. Darksiders 3, I've continued to play. Darksiders 3 came out, Tony. It's the sequel to Darksiders 2.
Wow, exciting.
It's still super weird. I've not played that much. I played about an hour last week. I've played a couple more hours now. I've beaten one of the 7 deadly sins, another one of them, which are kind of the goal of that area. I've unlocked the first kind of major power, which is like fire powers. I guess like I assume most of the powers you get in that game are elemental. I'm just very like conflicted about it. It feels super stiff and old in a way that I'm not a huge fan of, but it also is like really satisfying to like get a successful dodge and actually beat somebody. But I don't know. It's Darksiders 3 is fine. I wish I had more to say about it, but I'm so like indifferent one way or the other. But it's good. It looks good. It's still got that really cool looking style of it. It's odd that it has as many performance hiccups as it does, considering like it barely looks like a PS4 Xbox One game. Like it's very much leaning into its own style, so I don't think it should run poorly at all. But I don't know. That's always a complicated thing to get into. But the big one for this week I do want to talk about is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which came out Friday. Boy howdy.
Is everyone there?
Everyone is here. We'll get to it. They announced the first DLC character for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
That was fast.
So I think they're planning on putting it sometime early next year after Piranha Plant, who's like a free character for everybody. So I'm really curious, Tony. Who do you think? I'll tell you, it's wild. The person that they got as the first DLC character.
Honestly, I don't even know all the characters that are even in.
There's a lot.
I couldn't guess.
It's a third-party character, if that makes you feel any better.
Bayonetta.
Bayonetta's already in it.
That's what I thought.
It's someone you like, actually. It's a character you like.
I don't know. Tell me.
Joker from Persona 5.
Oh, really? It's
wild.
surprising.
It's really surprising. It's a very cool pick. But yeah, they announced that during the Game Awards, and I am still in awe of that. It's very much reminiscent of like the Cloud announcement of like, I don't know how they did this. But yeah, so here's the point of contention about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Well, there's 2 points. One is like the adventure mode, which I guess some people hate. I really like it. We'll get to that. The other is like, so you start with 8 characters of a roster of 74. And you have to unlock every single character. Basically, you start with the original Super Smash Bros. 64 roster. So just the original 8. And in that game, there were 12 characters. The 4 that you unlock, Ness, Captain Falcon, Jigglypuff, Luigi. And in this, you start with just 8, and you have to unlock, 66 characters. It's no big deal. But a lot of people, I guess, don't like that. I get it. It's cool because basically every couple of fights, like every 3 to 5 fights, you will have a new character challenge you, and then you can beat them. If you lose to them, there's actually like a menu you can go into periodically, and you'll be able to re-challenge them with whatever character you like, as opposed to the last character that you played. So if you want to just unlock characters pretty quickly, you can do the classic mode. Has been kind of trimmed down. It's made a lot cooler though. So classic mode used to be like 6 fights and then a bunch of mini games, or like 7 to 9 fights and a bunch of mini games in between. Now each character has a different classic mode, so it's like 6 fights, 1 mini game, and the boss is like at the end is dependent on the character. And they did some really, really cool stuff with it. So like Link's classic mode, he fights like a bunch of quote unquote like villains of Zelda, or like stand-ins for villains of Zelda. And then at the end, his final boss is actually Ganon. Like Ganondorf's final smash, he transforms into Ganon. They took that like character model and like turned it into like a fight just for that fight, which is really cool. And a lot of characters got like the full treatment like that. So their final boss fight is like this unique fight built just for them. And it makes classic mode a lot faster. It goes by in like 7 to 15 minutes. And I was like really impressed. I've been talking about it a little bit, Ultimate, just in general, with the podcast Ultimate boys, Scott and Mike. And I'm really curious what Scott Guthrie's feelings on Smash Bros. Is. I don't know if he even got it yet. Probably not, because he's so wrapped up in school. But it is like hitting notes of nostalgia in a way that Smash Bros. Always does. But like it is bringing me back to like a time when I would like come home from school and just play Super Smash Bros. Melee just because I liked playing that game. It's reminding me a lot of that game specifically because of how good it feels. Like I think it feels considerably better than Brawl, and even better than Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. It feels a lot more like Melee, but not overwhelming in a way that Melee always felt to me. And it's just it feels really, really good to play. It's far and away like the best playing of those games because there's a lot more technical stuff. As far as like in a way that reminds me a lot of like Arc System Works fighting games, like perfect shields, like timing your shields perfectly, but also like releasing your shields perfectly, so that way you completely negate damage and you recover quickly. Like it feels easier to combo, it feels easier to get around. All the characters feel a little bit lighter in a way that is actually really appreciated. So like even heavyweight characters like King DDD or King K. Rool or Bowser, that were so sluggish before, and it feels like you were just kind of trying to catch up with everyone else. Like they can hold their own. They're not as mobile, but like they can hold a position really well. And that it completely changes the dynamic of that game because the heavyweight characters are suddenly like really fucking good, where they were always trash. Like Scott Guthrie came on the show and shat on Ganondorf every single day of his life. But like Ganondorf feels really good in a totally different way now, just because he feels a little bit more mobile and fluid. And plus Ganondorf actually has his own unique moveset now. Like all of his specials are still very Captain Falcon-y, but all of his attacks and smash attacks are totally new to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is really cool. And there's a lot of that. Like almost every character got reworked in some way. From like aerials changing to attacks changing. Like Link doesn't have his hook shot anymore. He uses a grab because he's based on Breath of the Wild Link, which never had a hookshot. And he has like the remote bomb, which actually like is a really good knockback and things like that the regular bomb never was. So it's a lot of little touches that feel really great. Playing it feels really good. It's a game I just want to sit down and play, even if I'm playing it by myself, which I've not felt for Smash in a long time. And that's, the good with the bad. There's still like, when I booted it up, I'm like, boy, I really want to try out like Simon Belmont and King K. Rool, but I have to unlock every single fucking character, and that's a kind of a bummer. But
yeah, it sounds like a pain in the ass.
I like unlocking characters in Smash Brothers. It's always been like one of my favorite things about it. Because like getting them one by one, it lets you kind of spend time with one at a time. At this point, it's kind of that argument is rendered pretty like inert, because you get so many characters so quickly that it's impossible to spend any significant amount of time with any one of them. But regardless, like I still appreciate what they tried to do with it, and I don't think it's too bad. The big thing is, so like there's a whole adventure mode in the game. They announced it in that last direct, but it was still kind of like up in the air of like what it was going to be and if it was going to be any good. It's called the World of Light. It starts with this epic cutscene of everyone getting murdered except for Kirby. And then you play as Kirby, and you're kind of dropped into this big like hand-drawn world map. And you explore the map, collecting quote-unquote spirits, which are basically trophies from previous Smash Bros. Games. But in this adventure mode, those spirits are like equipable, and they have unique abilities to them. So if you've ever played a Smash Bros. Before, this World of Light is pretty much just like a big event mode. So you're going into a fight, and like it is customized in a way to be kind of reminiscent of a different character or somebody else that isn't in Smash Brothers, or a reference to like a franchise or something like that. So for example, the first one you fight is like this monster from Pikmin, and you fight a Mario that has like an ability to turn to metal, right? So it ranges from like super basic like that to pretty complicated and interesting. So when I'll say like I've put 22 hours into World of Light already. I've been doing every single challenge in it. You can like, since it's a world map, you can kind of explore and circumvent and not do certain things. But basically the way it works is you are collecting these spirits, and some spirits, like for example, you get to a beach, and it's like, oh, if only I had like a Pokemon that could traverse water. If you get the Lapras spirit, you can then summon that spirit there and explore that part of that world that you couldn't before. Or it's like, oh, I found a train. If only I knew someone that could operate a train. If you get like Linebeck from Spirit Tracks, Zelda Spirit Tracks, oh, I can suddenly use this train and I can navigate to a new area. So you're kind of trying to get to new areas to get to these like special points that are dungeons. Like there are dungeons in it, and they're like, it'll take you to a new unique map that is typically reminiscent of like a specific franchise represented in Smash Brothers. So for example, I got to one, it zooms out to this huge like actual Earth global world map. And this is like, again, a separate area in the World of Light adventure mode. And you start in Japan, and it's like, all right, fight Chun-Li. It's like, okay. And you fight like, Zero Suit Samus with a Chun-Li spirit with that like only does kick moves, and kick moves do more damage. But then you like go across this whole world map and fight all these different Street Fighter equivalents. And it's like this whole little Street Fighter dungeon where you're just going to these different parts, like Brazil, and you fight Blanca, or like some equivalent of Blanca, which is a green Donkey Kong that uses like a certain attack over and over again. And stuff like that. That's actually really, really cool and really fun. And the three kind of tiers of the fights in the adventure mode are super easy and super forgettable, but so like it doesn't matter though, because you get through it in like 15 seconds. Pretty interesting mechanically and pretty challenging and pretty memorable, and then way too fucking hard. And there's really no sliding scale there. It's always just one of those three things. But like a lot of like the challenges that they give you in this adventure mode are like, oh, the floor is lava. And it's like, all right, so you can't stand on this floor because it'll hurt you if you stand on it. and then you'll get like a spirit that'll say like makes you immune to lava floors, and it's like, okay, cool. So it's a lot of like you are going and doing these challenges and collecting these spirits, but they will actually help you do other more specific challenges. So if you get to something that you can't beat, you're like, I can come back here later and maybe I'll have spirits that'll help me get through it.
Sure.
In a very RPG like way. It's really cool. I'm like way into it. It is easily my favorite like Smash Brothers single player mode. And I'm having a lot of fun with it. I guess, I understand how it wouldn't work for a lot of people, but like for me, I love Smash Brothers so much. But I typically don't have anyone to play it with. And that sucks. So I typically play whatever single player mode of Smash Brothers and then stop playing it. But with this, like it is a lengthy single player thing. Again, like I said, I put like 20 hours into it. There's puzzle elements to it. It's very lovingly referencing a lot of franchises that I like a lot. Like I don't want to spoil any more of those dungeons for folks out there because some of them are like really fucking cool. The Street Fighter one is pretty short, so I don't feel bad spoiling that. But like they go in on some franchises and like really lovingly recreate like areas from those video games in this hand-drawn world map that are really fucking cool. But yeah, I like that, and like you play through that World of Light thing, and there are like tons of surprises in there. I'll say like things narratively that happen that are really fucking funny or cool. That really took me by surprise. So like as someone who typically plays Smash Brothers alone, this is hitting all the notes for me, and it's like making me play different characters and try different things. And it's been a lot of fun for me. So that, and I will say like I played a little bit of online. I played Mike Burgess, video producer IP, has been streaming it on and off all weekend. And he basically streamed it all day Friday. And after I got off work, I got to hop in at the end and kind of play with him. I wasn't feeling well, but so I didn't get to play for too long. But we played some online, and it was like perfect. Like there was no issue, no lag. I was playing on my shitty Wi-Fi. Like it was fine. I was really surprised. Basically they have a setup that is reminds me a lot of Endless Battle in Street Fighter 4, where it's like you all get in a room and then you just queue up to play against each other 1v1 or 4-player and just have a good time. And it was exactly that. It was exactly what I wanted, like an online from Smash Bros. To be, and they nailed it, which I'm still surprised by, but I'm very happy with. And then later that night when I was like in bed, because I was like, oh shit, I can take Smash Bros. With me to bed because Switch is great. I was like, I tweeted out like, I'm going to set up a room for just a few minutes if you want to come in, hang out. And like one of my coworkers who also got Smash Brothers texted me. He was like, hey, what's your friend code? And we added in, like, so he hopped in this room and just 2 people from Twitter hopped in the room. And we played a few rounds, and it was just, again, me just with the Switch in handheld mode upstairs, pretty far from my router on Wi-Fi, no lag, no issues. And we had a great time. It was super fun.
Cool.
So that I played at work. It was the first time I actually brought my Switch into work because the only video game anyone cares about now is Smash Brothers. So most of my coworkers don't really play games, but they were down for Smash, and we played some like local wireless matches, like each on our individual Switches, and that was a little hitchy, I'll say, which is funny because we were obviously much closer to one another, but it still worked pretty well. So far so good with any kind of multiplayer stuff in Smash Brothers. So it is really hitting all the notes for me.
Did they do like a 6 Smash Bros like exclusive
bundle?
Yeah.
They did one. I don't know if it was like sick. I'm not like into console branded or game branded consoles. As you know, but they did one where like the dock has the original 8 Smash Brothers fighters in like the art style on it, and the 2 Joy-Con have like lines on them to indicate the Smash logo.
Oh, okay.
So it's pretty subtle. Yeah, like I think the dock looks really cool. The Joy-Cons basically just look like the gray Joy-Cons.
Yeah. When are they gonna add All Might to Smash?
Honestly, dude, everything is on the table now. Like
I'm an All Might main, so put him in, and I'll play him.
Like Joker is such a fun, amazing surprise of like that is so fucking cool, and like the trailer that they did for it was really good. Of like,
Is this like Ultimate Smash? Like he goes on a social link.
yeah,
Yeah,
he goes on a date with Bowser, and just hangs out. I know. I mean, like it could be something like an all-out attack. Is probably what I'm.
What if they put like Shepard
from Mass Effect just in there with guns?
Yeah, his Ultimate Smash is him spilling drinks on the set. It's like,
is Jacob there or no?
No.
Fuck Jacob.
He pulls out like a 1 to 12,000th scale model of the then takes out a shot a glass of tequila and pours it on.
I'm here for that, dude.
And then everyone just instantly gets thrown off the screen and
he's like, he spilled drinks too hard, actually.
Yeah, it was kind of fucked up.
No, I honestly, dude, like, I feel like it's more in the realm of possibility after like Cloud from Final Fantasy VII and Joker from Persona 5 are in there. So, but yeah, I have been blown away by Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It feels like the biggest thing I want to like iterate here or like emphasize here. That's the word. Does not feel like
we got there.
It doesn't feel like a port in any way. Like it really does feel like a different Smash Brothers game from the previous one. I know that was like a big concern of like this is coming around pretty close to Smash for Wii U and 3DS, and it feels a lot better than those games. Like I like how those games feel. They certainly are the closest to like Melee as far as collectively people enjoying how they play. It doesn't have tripping like Brawl. It's not super slow like Brawl. But it was definitely missing a lot of technical level things that I didn't appreciate until I started playing Ultimate. And Ultimate is just it runs faster, it looks faster, it feels faster. You know, like I know that's a weird thing to latch onto, but like Melee is the way it is because the game moves at like 1,000 miles per minute. And it's not quite there, but it doesn't feel like it's losing anything by being slower than that game. It feels like it is defiantly its own thing, but feels, in my opinion, better than it. And like every character has like some level of nuance or like detail to them that I've been impressed by. Like the thing I didn't think I would notice as much as I have been is like facial expressions. Like when Pikachu's like holding onto a ledge, he's like squinting like really tight, like he's holding on really hard. And like when characters get hit, like the faces that they make, like Donkey Kong's eyes like popping out and things like that. It's a little stuff that really, really sells it. And it feels really well balanced. I think there are certainly some characters that feel kind of shitty. Like I'm bummed out Ridley isn't that good in my experience. But he's got some cool moves, and I think there are ways to make him better with patches. So I'm really happy with the final product, and I can't wait to put more time into it. Nobishin's probably playing it right now.
Probably.
Wherever he is. But yeah, Smash Bros. Ultimate is rad. I know like Smash Bros. Never really been your thing, Tony. But I'm a big fan.
Alright, it's just I prefer other fighting styles to.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I will say one other thing that I do want to also reiterate is that everything like presentationally about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I know you haven't kept up with it as much. It feels way more like a fighting game, as opposed to people would generally say like a party game. Like it feels way more competitive, way more aggressive, but like I said about those kind of technical level things, like they're way more achievable and way more important to moment gameplay, like perfect shielding and guarding and blocking and like breaking grabs and things like that is like they're way more important to do. So it feels like mechanics that you can't just like brush off. You could, and you could still probably have a good time, but like they feel more approachable and easier to learn. But also like when it's one-on-one, for example, like characters do more damage to each other to keep the pace of fighting moving faster. And like it'll do like these zoom in moments when someone's about to get KO'd or something big's about to happen or the match is about to end, to kind of emphasize that. And it feels way more epic and like a fighter. You know, it presentationally they are going for the fighting game aesthetic a lot more. Even like when you hit start and it like shows all the characters that are going into the fight, like that window looks like a fighting game. Like looks like Street Fighter 4 in a lot of ways. And I think that's cool. Like I think people that have always complained that Smash Brothers isn't a fighting game will get more out of this game than previous Smash Brothers games. So, but that's it. That's really all I've been playing. You want to talk about some news, Tony?
Tell me about the news.
News in gaming. The Game Awards, Kind of Funny Games Showcase, 2 big video game centric news things happened this week. So we'll start with the Game Awards. I would say it's arguably the kind of bigger of the two, but you know, they were both really big, honestly. So a bunch of games got announced at the Game Awards in addition to the awards. God of War took home Game of the Year, if you're curious, Tony.
I saw.
And Red Dead Redemption and God of War both took home, I would say, like mostly equal of like the big awards. But some love was given to plenty of other games like Celeste. God, what's that roguelike called? Dead Cells won best like action game. Some really cool stuff. But big announcements. We already talked about one of them, which was Joker being announced for Smash Bros. It was a big trailer. Got a lot of hype. It certainly got, if you go onto YouTube and watch our reaction to the Game Awards, Scott White, Mike Burgess, and myself watched along live. That was like the biggest reaction from us, mostly probably because we also host Podcast Ultimate, the Smash Bros. Podcast on the website, so keep that in mind. But there was some other stuff announced. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 was announced, which was a huge surprise. It is a Nintendo Switch exclusive. It looks like, you know, the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games that you've come to know and love. It seems to be a little bit more behind the back, like third-person action game focused. But, you know, big, fun, crossover Avengers game. The X-Men are in it. The typical Avengers are in it. Thanos shows up at the end of that trailer. And it's being developed by Team Ninja, which is pretty cool. Or at least partially developed by Team Ninja. And yeah, it's a Switch exclusive. Another one that Nintendo kind of stealthily locked down. I think that will be a fun co-op game. It's coming out next year. A lot of like out of nowhere announcements. Far Cry New Dawn is a direct follow-up to Far Cry 5. It's $40. It's like a post-up. I know you don't care about this, Tony, but for anyone listening, if you are worried about Far Cry 5 spoilers, they spoiled it in the trailer for this game, so I feel pretty comfortable about talking about it. But apparently, Far Cry 5 ends with them nuking the United States of America.
Why not?
So this is like the post-apocalypse New Dawn after that. And it looks super uninteresting. I'm not trying to like dunk on this game at all, but it's just nothing about it appealed to me. Seems like more co-op focused. That's what I took away from the trailer. Supergiant Games announced their next game, which is actually available right now in early access. It's called Hades. And it seems like a roguelike, everyone's new favorite genre. And it's like a top-down action game, more along the lines of Bastion or Transistor. But it seems like death plays a pretty big mechanic in it. A big thing, kind of relevant news this week and last week, is a lot of these games were announced for the Epic Games Store, which Epic like literally just announced this last 2 weeks. But yeah, they're essentially, it is going to be a new platform that they're building because they have a lot of money from making Fortnite, where the split of how much Epic takes for selling your game and how much the game creator takes for selling your game is a lot more in favor of the game creator than Steam. I believe it's 12% goes to Epic and 88% goes to the game creator. Whereas if your game has sold over a certain number of million units on Steam, it's 80/20. Otherwise, it's like not that. So it's even
It's
better.
like 2080.
Yeah, it's like 2080 exactly. I don't know the exact numbers, so I don't want to necessarily misquote, but I know that like I think it's like over 5 million or 10 million copies sold. The Steam will then take 20% and you get 80%. And Epic Games right off the bat is like you get 88% no matter what, and we only take 12% ever. I don't know if there are going to be agreements in that where you can get more or less, et cetera, et cetera. But Epic Games' store is out now, and there are a whole bunch of games announced either exclusively for the Epic Games Store or coming to the Epic Games Store at the Game Awards. So it is a big deal, and people are pushing that. Game developers in particular seem to be pushing it, and it seems like it could be a big shift in the industry, but obviously that came out a week ago, so we won't know for a while. But Hades is one of those games. Journey, the once PS3, PS4 exclusive, is coming to PC for the first time. Is coming to the Epic Games Store, et cetera, et cetera. Here's one that you probably hadn't heard about, but is really cool. The Stanley Parable is getting re-released on consoles and PC with a bunch of new content.
That is cool.
I think it's getting like a visual redo to look a little bit better. But essentially, the trailer is very funny. Of like, it's like 2013. We came out. It's like all the narrators saying this, and we put out our game. We're happy that it was so well received, and it shows a bunch of like actual footage from the Game of the Year announcements from 2013. It's like, and the Game of the Year goes to The Last of Us, and it's like a bunch of games that are not the Stanley Parable. And it's a pretty good self dunk. But yeah, that game is coming to PS4, Xbox One, and I believe Switch, with new content, and is also just getting re-released on PC. I assume if you had it on PC before, you'll just get the upgrade, but I don't know for sure. But it was a very funny trailer. It was very cool to see that game again. Obviously, we like that game a lot. I know you in particular love that game, Tony.
Game's great.
It is great. So I'm excited to see new endings, new stuff in that game. Let's see. Where's some of the other exciting announcements? Journey to the Savage Planet was a new like adventure game from a new developer called Typhoon Studio, who made of developers that worked on Assassin's Creed and Batman Arkham Asylum. It's like a first-person adventure game, not a survivor battle royale. They wanted to emphasize that, but it kind of looked like it. Crash Team Racing is getting remastered. I don't know why anyone is excited about that, but it's coming out in June.
No one is excited.
So many people are excited about that. I never played Crash Team Racing. I heard it was pretty good, but like I don't know, man. Dauntless is coming to consoles. It was crazy to see a Dauntless trailer in 2018 and people acting like that game's still brand new. Monster Hunter World won Best RPG, and the developers said like they're announcing some cool stuff for that soon, possibly as early as like next week, which is good because I know it's been pretty mum's the word for a while. Atlas is a new game from the guys that made Ark Survival Evolved. It is a like 40,000 player MMO that looks like Sea of Thieves on like crack. Like there's dragons in the ocean, there's pirate ships, there's giant sea monsters, giant islands to explore. It's huge. But it's made by the guys who made Ark, so I still am not interested in it.
Damn.
Sorry, dunked. Dragon Age 4 was teased. I say that with hesitancy only because they had a trailer. It showed that guy who's like the bad guy from Dragon Age 3, but you don't know until the end. Spoilers. And it showed like a mosaic artwork of like some giant monster and then him, it looked like. Solus, I think is his name. And it's like voiceover of him saying like, oh, so you found me or whatever. And then it says, it just puts up a hashtag the Dreadwolf Rises. And that's it. That's the whole trailer. It doesn't say Dragon Age 4 at any point, even though it is Dragon Age 4. And there's no date. That game's probably never coming out. So, not really. It'll probably come out in like 2-3 years, but it seems like very early to announce a new Dragon Age game. But I don't know. People like Dragon Age 3, Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah.
I know you had mixed feelings, but you liked it overall. New PUBG map came out, shadow dropped. Mortal Kombat 11 was announced. I already kind of talked about that. They didn't make a big deal out of it, but they did unveil like a lot of the games for the quote unquote Winter of Arcade, which was teased at last month's Microsoft Expo event. But what's cool is it's 9 handpicked indie games releasing throughout December. If you buy, so for each one you purchase, you'll get a $5 credit. So if you buy all 9, you get $40 credit. And a lot of them, I don't know if all of them, but a lot of them are coming to Game Pass for free. So one of the big ones was Ashen, which is a Dark Souls-like that apparently is really fucking cool. It came out, it was shadow dropped that night, Thursday night. It is free for Game Pass. It's out on PC as well. And I haven't downloaded it. I'm excited to play it. But Below, which comes out next week, is a game I've been anticipating for a very long time. Donut County is a cool indie game that came out earlier this year on PS4. Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, Mutant Year Zero, Subnautica 1.0. It's cool to see Subnautica is coming out of early access. Kingdom 2 Crowns, Desert Child, and Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek are all the games that are in that collection. So that's cool. I'm a big fan of Summer of Arcade, so it's cool to see them get more info or more love, see that promotion come back. And then there was some Fortnite shit. I don't know how invested you are in this Fortnite stuff, but Fortnite Season 7 started.
Watch out.
You get to fight Santa or something in it. It's like winter themed. But
are they going to release another mechanic that makes half their player base rage?
Probably. What was the mechanic that they did that for?
They like made it so you could redeploy your glider.
Oh, yep. And then they took it away, right?
Yeah, because everyone fucking hated it and it was a stupid idea.
I know Alex Van Aken really liked it. And he was really upset when it was gone.
Fucking casual.
If you know that, Van Aken, take that, okay, beast. But the big thing is like Fortnite happened mid-game awards. There's a big square block that dropped down, and you can like create custom maps, and you can create things for quote unquote. It's called the block. You can create a thing for the block, and randomly it'll appear in a battle royale level on this square on the map. So you can create a thing that will be in the map, which is kind of cool. It's a cool way to get the community involved, but. Mm-hmm. Overall, Game Awards, good show. It was fun. It was exciting. There's a lot of fun announcements. There's a lot of fun moments. There was a Pepe the Frog ninja moment that was a little rough. I was trying to think of like a cringy moment. And there wasn't really one, but that was as close as it got. I don't know if you know Pepe the Frog is like a Muppet.
Yes, I'm aware of Pepe the Frog.
He was on stage with Ninja. They took a selfie together. But that's all I can say about that. It was a little awkward. The Kind of Funny Games showcase.
Pretty much everything involving Ninja is a little awkward right now.
Yeah. It's fine. He doesn't hate women. He respects his wife. There's a hot take for you. Yeah, I want to believe Ninja is like a good dude, but I also know like his actions kind of indicate that maybe he's not like all a good dude, you know? Mm-hmm. But that's neither here nor there. For the most part, there was a good representation of developers in the awards. Red Dead, like I said, took home a couple too many awards, I think. It didn't need to win best soundtrack, et cetera, et cetera. I did call it though in that best game direction did not go to Red Dead Redemption. It went to God of War. So I definitely think crunch had to do with that. But it was cool to see Corey Barlog come up and talk about God of War. He's just such a nice dude. The Kind of Funny Games showcase happened on Saturday morning. 69 games, nice, to show in the showcase, whether they be announced or released or release dates announced. Huge list of games. I don't want to go through all of them. It was cool. I was in it, as some people might know. I was in. There was like a little intro where it was creators thanking players for playing and content creators thanking creators for creating. And I got to be one of those content creators to thank creators for creating. So thank you to them for letting me be a part of that. I swear that was the only involvement I had. So I didn't know about anything else going into it, really. So there's a lot of cool stuff. They focused a lot on like really, really small games, like games that were being developed by a single person. One in particular, I'll see if I can find the name, but like the Kickstarter was like Adam's Ascending. That's right. Is like the Kickstarter was announced there. It's like a survival space game where you're like going through this planet that has like giant skeleton and stuff on it. It's crazy. It looks very cool. They had a live action trailer for it mixed with gameplay. Kickstarter for that's out now. George Cruz was live tweeting the whole event from the Irrational Passions Twitter account, and he kind of had a lot of highlights for it. A couple of ones that really stood out to me. Super Meat Boy Forever got a release date. It's coming out in April. Just said April 2019, so I didn't get like a hard date, but it was cool to see that game again. And it's coming to Switch as well, so I don't know if that had been announced yet. Mike Bithell has a new game that came out the day of, which seems to be some kind of text-based adventure game. The Danganronpa trilogy is coming to PS4. So 1, 2, and 3 coming out together with like an art book are coming to PS4 if you hadn't gotten them already.
Those are some video games.
Those are some good video games. The Messenger, one of my favorite games this year, is getting a free DLC expansion in 2019 called Picnic Panic. It's very tropical island themed, which I like a lot. Guacamelee 2 is getting like Greg Miller and Portillo DLC for free, I think. It might be paid, but it's basically character skins that you can play as, which I thought was funny. Windjammers is coming to Switch and physical release December 21st, which is very cool. Celeste is getting a physical release in January. And there's a lot of other games. I'll pull up the IP Twitter account to see if any really stick out to me from there. But yeah, it was a cool thing. Like, they came on it and said, hey, we wanted to create a platform for people to, who like just don't get the show in to basically be able to be in a press conference. And it felt like that in a lot of ways. It was very cool. It was a very good feeling as well. A lot of like really silly games. Like there's one called Moving Out that's just about like, I think it might be like a college game. I'm not sure, but like just getting all your stuff out of your house as quickly as possible. And like, that's the whole game. It's like, that's fucking really cool. Like that's a fun idea. And it's got a cool style. But yeah, I a lot of them stood out to me in a lot of ways, like a lot of cool art styles, a lot of cool just game ideas. Like one is it's called Bury Me My Love by the Pixel Hunt. And it is essentially you play a Syrian refugee trying to get out, trying to get to Europe. And the entire game is told through text message conversations you have with your significant other. So you are in Syria trying to get back to Europe, and you are texting your boyfriend, and it's really cool. It's like, man, that's like a very intimate, very cool idea. There were one more thing at the end of the show, which was really cool, was that they got to unveil that the team, now called Still Not Bitten, made up of entirely former Telltale developers, or for the most part former Telltale developers, are working out of the old Telltale game studio to finish The Walking Dead, the final season. They got to show a trailer for episode 3, which is now coming out in January. So that was like a good feel-good thing to end on. And that's being done by Skybound. So yeah, a lot of good stuff. A lot of games announced. A lot of cool indie games. I would highly suggest watching it. It's an hour and 6 minutes, so it goes by pretty quick. And you get 69 games shown to you in that hour. And I guarantee at least one of them will speak to you in a cool way. And again, it's almost entirely indie games. They also had Judgment, which is the North American name of the the Yakuza developer's new game, Judge Eyes, and they got to announce like the English voice actors for that, which was cool. But it was cool. It was good stuff, Tony.
Sick stuff.
Sick. That was it. That was really it. Are you excited for any video games now, Tony? Now that I've dumped all these games on you?
Joker.
Dude, it's gonna be cool. I'm very excited.
Joker main.
I'm gonna be a Joker main. Fuck with me. That's what I'll say to the noobs online.
That's like what you set your custom name to.
Fuck with me.
Yeah. FKWITME.
Yeah. I think that's fair. We did not get any questions this week. I should have solicited them better, but that was my bad.
Okay.
But it's all right. Like we said at the top of the hour, it's a chill, shorter show. So, just you and me, Tony. Do you have any questions for me, Tony? Just from the bottom of your heart.
When I'm gonna see your beautiful face.
It's a good question. We should hang out. Let me see. I'm off Wednesday. We could hang out Wednesday.
We'll workshop it.
Okay. I'd like to see your beautiful face. I had a lot of fun last time we hung out. I'm in the spot where I don't like see anybody at all. Like I don't even see the people I used to see like once a week. So it's like, man, I desperately need human connection. If you'd like to send us a question and be a part of the show, you can in 3 ways. You can tweet us at IrrationalPod with the hashtag IPQ. We'll answer it on the show. I usually solicit those, so you can look for my tweet Thursdays, Fridays, or Saturdays to reply to that if you would like. You can leave us a voicemail at 404-590-1337, and we will play it and listen to it on the show and talk about it. Or you can email us, mailsack@irrationalpatches.com. I love emails. I'd be happy to get them. And for everything just in general to keep up with the site, like I was mentioning, George Cruz live tweeting the Kind of Funny Games Showcase. Follow Irrational Pod on Twitter and follow Irrational Passions on Instagram. George puts a lot of work into that, but it's more like Mike does stuff on that. Scott does stuff on that now too. It's very good. Some other stuff, rate and review us on iTunes and Stitcher and Google Play and Spotify, wherever you listen to the show. Check out the other shows that we have on the website. Input, Video Games News Show, Culture Show. They have a very special episode coming up. I don't want to spoil it for them because they worked really hard to get it, but they're having a guest on that I'm very excited about. Get Acquainted, a one-on-one interview show. It's coming back, baby. You got to believe. Podcast Ultimate, our Super Smash Bros. Ultimate podcast, will be, I think, recording in a couple weeks, our final episode of that. I'm pretty excited about. We're going to be kind of reviewing Smash Brothers in a dialogue. And also Video Game Book Club, Scott's show, Scott White's show that is all about playing games together and talking about them as we play through them. But yeah, everything else, irrationalpassions.com is the place to be. Tony, we've reached the end of the show. It's you and me. It is now time for bets. Bets. Such a soft bet.
Tell me about the bet.
I'm really proud of this one. I've talked about Below on the show before, but to give you the kind of rundown, Below is a top-down roguelike that is in I would say the style of a Legend of Zelda game. You know, it's a sword and shield top-down, but you get items and stuff. You're going down, 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 deeper into this cavern. And there are certain checkpoints that you'll be able to fast travel to once you get them. That's how it kind of works around it. But every time you die for real. And every time you go back into the caverns, they've changed. Next week, this week's bet. Next week, Below comes out. I will search YouTube for just the words Below video game and pull the first clip of unedited gameplay. So this is not a trailer or anything, like not a review, like actual unedited gameplay. How long in that clip until the first kill?
First kill is in like the guy died.
Could be player death, could be enemy death.
Oh.
This is a tough. I honestly have no idea what I'm going to say for this. I will say, like, just because it's not fair because I've played the game. I'll give you a little bit of information here, Tony. There is like when you're on an island, you get to the island and there's like kind of a surface of the island, and eventually you get into a cavern. Like you'll find the cave. There's a very long animation of the door opening. You go down. So if it is just like a from beginning to end gameplay cut, and then there's like a checkpoint room, and then you go down to the first floor, and that's where enemies can appear and death can happen. So I would say that in itself is maybe like a minute at least if they're like running through it. I don't know if it's, again, we're just playing the lotto here, playing the feud. So yeah.
I was gonna say like 1 minute.
Okay.
Or rather, not 1 minute, 90 seconds.
Okay, I like that.
Because you gotta leave like 25 seconds for them to ask you to like, subscribe, and comment.
You're right at the top of the.
And give the whole spiel. Make sure you ask them to get the bell on.
Yeah, ring that bell. Gotta get notifications when I go live, etc.
Yeah.
Okay, I said 1 minute and 45 seconds, so I feel good about that. I feel like either of those could be right, or we could both be just way wrong, and it's like 45 minutes.
And then you win.
Yeah, but like only by 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Or it could be a thing where he starts out like, hey, I'm in below and we're going in, and he just kills something right away, and then you win. So honestly, I have no idea. It comes out on Tuesday, though. Very excited. Comes to PC.
What if the video is my video?
It could be.
It's just like the title of the video is just below video.
Below video game. It very well could be. I don't know. I'm certainly excited to find out, though. Last week's bet are the Game Awards bets. I'm going to have to tally those up. It's technically 2 weeks. We took a week off from betting because we had all those Game Awards bets to resolve. But I'm going to tally those up. Basically, we bet on what we thought we would win each and every category of the Game Awards. So I'll go through that and figure that out. I have them all written down. That's the show. That's it, Tony. We made it. This was fun. I always like doing these with you. We just have we just naturally have the most chemistry of any of the Irrational Passions hosts.
Yeah, we're pretty good at mixing things in beakers.
God damn it.
But I mean, once a graduated cylinder is added into the mix,
once we graduate to the cylinder, it gets wild.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for watching along, for listening. We really appreciate you all. If you, I'll say this, I never kind of promote this out. We do like a 30-minute cold open type thing of like us just bullshitting before we actually start recording the podcast. And that's live on youtube.com/Irrational Passions every Saturday, roughly between 7 and 8. We get started. And that's like, we call it bonus content, but it is a little pre-show that we do every week. So that's like 2 hours of bonus content only on YouTube every month, which is pretty good. We talked about anime this time, which was fun. We talked a little bit about broken computers and whatnot as well. So if you ever want to watch live, that's typically when we are live, so you can see the show unedited, but also you get the little extra bonus content. And it's fun. We have a good time. We'll talk to the chat during that. And if you ever want to do that, youtube.com/Irrational Passions. Sorry, I'm like a little off my game today. I'm a little sick. So if I'm repeating myself, I apologize. Thank you, Tony, for joining me, as always. Big hug all the way around.
Yeah.
My arms.
Move on, you sap.
All the way around. Thank you, Nobshin and Scott, wherever you guys are. I still appreciate you guys, even if you couldn't have been here for this episode. Thank you to Danny Wiesner for opening music of Two Player Co-op and our closing music of The World is Saved. Thank you to each and every one of you for listening. We were approaching the end of the year, so get ready for some fun Game of the Year stuff. But until then, I've been your host, Alex O'Neill. Play your games, stay irrational. We will talk to you all next week. Titles. There are no titles. Tony, did you leave?
I'm here.
Okay.
How many titles?
We don't have. I didn't write down any titles, but we can figure out a title. What do you want to call this one, Tony?
So what I was going to do is just say you were listening to the Irrational Passions podcast, episode 405, and you can just put in whatever the heck you figure out.
Fireside Buddies.
Why did I give you this job?
I like that. I like that though. You can stop recording now.
I'll get to that to you at some point.
Please get it to me in like the near future.
Yeah. Tomorrow.
Yay! Thanks everybody for watching. We appreciate all of you. Have a good evening or day, whatever you're watching this. I don't judge.